to introduce it. I guess they don't even really have to.
Yeah, probably not.
Hello, everybody. Can everybody hear me? Perfect. Good evening, everyone. I'm glad you could make it to be with us virtually this evening or in person for some of you. My name is Tom Ancona, and I am the McKean Advisor to the Common Good Grant Program. This ceremony is always so special to me, but especially this year when I consider everything that our students, organizations, and donors have overcome to get here. I believe strongly in the mission of our program, both for the direct good that it does in our local communities and also for the exceptional educational experience it provides for our students. As you can see, some of us are taking part in Maine Lounge on Bowdoin's campus. Before we get started, I must acknowledge the obvious that you'll see those of us in Maine Lounge wearing masks due to COVID-19 protocols. But hopefully you can imagine our wide smiles underneath these masks. This is actually the first Common Good Grant program to be in person this year, and we hope that it represents a symbolic step towards normalcy as we conclude this academic year. Before we get started, I have a few people that I would like to thank. Please feel free to share many thankful Zoom emojis throughout these expressions of thanks and throughout tonight's program. First, thank you to all our program supporters, both donors and speakers. You make this program the enriching educational experience for our students and provide them with the means to grant out funds to such wonderful community organizations. A silver lining of this year's virtual program was that our committee got to meet with so many incredible people from around the country and the world, and that so many of you are able to join us tonight. This is definitely something we plan to continue in coming years. Thank you also to this year's Common Good Grant Committee for the tremendous work that they put in this year. In a year when our students had most of their classes online, this group of 28 students, a program record itself, has met virtually every week to learn about nonprofits, philanthropy, and do incredible work. They reviewed 37 letters of intent, read 22 full grant applications, conducted 13 virtual site visits, funded 11 incredible organizations, and met with over 36 donors. I'm exhausted even listing all this off. They were incredibly thoughtful and passionate throughout the program, and I would be extraordinarily lucky if I got to work with all of them again in next year's program. So thank you, Common Good Grant Committee. Last, but certainly not least, I want to thank Ryan and Chanel for being amazing Common Good Grant leaders this year. Without their thoughtful hard work, this program would not be what it is. They have worked so hard throughout the year to adapt the program to this year's virtual form. And I analogize this to rebuilding an airplane that takes off on the runway. Their incredible talent and determination gave us a wonderful program this year. There is no one I would rather share a Teams or a Zoom video chat with than them. I thank you both, and I dearly miss working with both of you so closely next year. This is always a wonderful night of celebration, but this year we actually have something extra special to celebrate. This year is the 20th anniversary of the Common Good Grant Program. To commemorate this wonderful milestone, it delights me to invite Susie Dorn to say a few words. Susie is the founding director of the McKean Center for the Common Good, and before the McKean Center even existed, she was one of the creators of Common Good Grant. She has always, in her time at Bowdoin and since she's departed, been a wonderful mentor to me and a supporter of Common Good Grant. Please welcome Susie.
Thank you. What a pleasure to be here in this special and unique year celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Common Good Grant Program. As so many of you know, the Common Good Grant Program was founded in 2001 by a Bowdoin philanthropist from the class of 1964. This alum was interested in inspiring students to become the future philanthropists of the world. So if you look up philanthropy in the dictionary, you can find a definition of that being the desire to promote the welfare of others. So while in recent decades, we've come to coincide philanthropy with this idea of gifts of financial support. I look around the faces here today and I see that our class of 1964 philanthropists truly achieved his goal. Today, we have a generation of future philanthropists working together with our local philanthropists, our community partners, who work to promote the welfare of others every day in the greater Brunswick community in Maine. And that is a gift for all of us. So what began in 2001 with a $10,000 gift to Bowdoin? The intent was this gift was for students to allocate to local organizations in the form of grants. And this happened through a one-day retreat. But this has essentially grown into a year-long educational seminar. And our class of 1964 philanthropists worked with the CRC founding director, Lydia Bell, who's here tonight, class of 2000, to set up the program. And he really wanted students to learn about the great work that nonprofits are doing and the budget challenges that they face. That has happened. And even more today, the Common Good Grant Program runs like a professional foundation. And I think that is what is truly, truly inspiring. A group of students comes together with Tom and other staff members led by students to learn about the impact that organizations are making in the community and to invite others to join them in supporting those efforts. It is the tireless efforts of all of us here today that has made this possible. It's a really big gift. Thank you. So that's kind of a speechy part, but I have to say, I was looking through the program before earlier in the week, and I just love looking at all the names in each of the categories. And while these are lists of names, I can tell you that these lists of names each have stories. Stories of students who are learning and moving on and giving back. And for me, the story begins with, this list of this year's committee members. And like many other mentors listed in the program, I got to spend an evening with them on Zoom. And my role in this particular evening was to speak about fundraising and the art of the ask. Something I do now for a living as a major gift officer at Princeton University. It was, of course, absolutely, by and large, the best evening of my entire year. And I say that because the students had great questions and I was fully inspired. I think, though, what they might not have known was that I learned how to raise money alongside of students many years ago on the Common Good Grant Program. So this learning that I now do for a living started learning with students just like you. But those students that were just like you were kind of students from 20 years ago. And so when I moved to look at the list of donors, I see just so many more stories. And I see stories of those who've come before, those community members who prioritize this work. And I looked at it and it's like, oh, Caitlin. Oh, wait, there's Winnie. Oh my gosh, Shelby, Michelle, Chris Knight. Oh, wow, Vin. This is just absolutely terrific. And each name just brings back a flood of individual stories. Suddenly it's like, wait, I'm guessing Danielle or Chant. She must have married Patrick. Do I have that right? Steve Peck. Wow. Oh, Carrie and Mark, Rachel. So all of these stories come to light and just filled me with such a sense of inspiration for the work that's happening on the part of our students and their learning through the community. At the end of the day, though, we really salute our 2021 Common Good Grant awardees. Your work, day in and day out, meeting the needs of this community is a model for our students and all of us here. And it's your philanthropy that inspires ours. So with that, I'm just so pleased to introduce this year's Common Good Grant Fellows, seniors, Chanel Matthews and Ryan Tellengater, both of whom I had a chance to meet when they were first years. And at that time, I knew they were each special. And it's just been a pleasure, even from afar, watching them go through their 4 years And I'm so excited for what lies ahead of them. But with that, I'd like to turn it over to them as they take us to the next program.
Welcome, and thank you all so much for coming to the awards ceremony tonight. We're so happy to see you all virtually and to have some of our community gathered here tonight in the main lounge. This is where we would usually hold the awards ceremony. My name is Chanel Matthews. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I'm a senior at Bowdoin majoring in Africana Studies with a minor in sociology. I'm also one of the leaders for the Common Good Grant program.
And my name is Ryan Tallingator. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a senior government and legal studies and education coordinate major with a sociology minor, and I'm the other co-leader of Common Good Grant.
Common Good Grant was established in 2001 by a generous alum. The donation provides $10,000 annually, which initially served as the pool of money from which grants were allocated. Due to the early success of the program, committee members received a high volume of applications from worthy organizations each year. Unfortunately, the committee lacked the funds to support many of these organizations in their efforts.
As a result, the Development Committee was added to the program in 2004. In addition to providing valuable experience in fundraising and donor cultivation, the Development Committee has had a huge impact in expanding the scope of the program by raising additional funds to supplement our $10,000 yearly base. The program overall has been incredibly successful, funding a total of 169 grants and awarding over $346,000 to nonprofits in the Greater Brunswick area.
The Common Good Grant program has not only given Bowdoin students the opportunity to gain experience with grant writing, fundraising, and nonprofit operations, but has also allowed them to connect with their community and with each other. Through sitting on panels about current issues in Mid-Coast Maine, to conducting site visits with the organizations, we have been lucky enough to get to know this community a bit better.
Common Good Grant in recent years has created categories for grant applications to ensure that the committee has a diverse portfolio of organizations that we fund. Prior to this year, we had 4 categories. They were arts, history, and culture, health and basic needs, adult and youth education and development, and environment, agriculture, and sustainability. This year, our committee decided to add one more bucket: justice, equity, and anti-racism. This decision was largely stimulated by the murder of George Floyd and growing national consensus that America had to reckon with the racism that permeated through all aspects of the country. Thus, we created the Justice, Equity, and Anti-Racism bucket to ensure that we funded an organization working to advance racial justice in the state.
As our committee members will illuminate in their speeches, we had a large number of letters of intent submitted and a record amount of money to allocate thanks to the generosity of our donors and the hard work of our committee members. However, as leaders, we would also like to inform you that we have a record number of applications to join our student committee this year. We would like to thank the McKean Center for allowing CGG to operate under the uncertainty of COVID this year. We would also like to thank Tom for being an amazing advisor and a consistent supporter throughout the process. And we would like to thank our committee for their weekly dedication to the program and their perseverance through Zoom fatigue and mine and Ryan's awkward small talk at the beginning of all our things. They showed up every Tuesday night at 8:30, ready to discuss our work and engage with our speakers. Thank you all so much.
We'd also like to thank the generous speakers who came to our sessions throughout the year to teach, advise, and mentor us. We learned so much about nonprofits, grant writing, development, and philanthropy in general. And we got some great advice about working in the nonprofit sector. Thank you all for dedicating your time. We would also like to thank our incredibly generous donors. We raised a record amount of money this year and were able to give out 11 grants to incredibly worthy and important organizations. In a year marred by COVID, your generosity truly stands out as contributions to the common good for the Greater Brunswick area. Thank you.
This year has been different. As a two-time member of the committee and now a leader, Common Good Grant underwent an evolution to go virtual. However, as Margot will soon describe, it went pretty well. Thank you to everyone who helped us navigate this crazy year for your hard work and your dedication to the cause.
So I'd like to end this little speech of ours with an anecdote. Chanel and I have actually known each other for 6 years. We met our junior year of high school at a semester program and have been friends ever since. Chanel participated in Common Good Grant our freshman year and loved it, and recruited me to join starting sophomore year. Every Tuesday night, Chanel and I would look at our the leaders of Common Good Grant, Marina Stan and Troy Peters, and we would excitedly whisper to each other, how cool would it be if we led this senior year? And it happened. And although this year hasn't been exactly like we pictured it 2 years ago, the flexibility, engagement, and dedication of Tom and the committee members to make this work has made the year even more special than we could have imagined. This has been an amazing experience for both of us. And we're so grateful to share the culmination of our work this year with you all in this 2021 awards ceremony. So now we'll kick it off with our committee member speeches. I'll call up Margot to talk a little bit more about how Common Good Grant went this year.
Hello, my name is Margot Rowe and I use she, they pronouns. I'm a sophomore majoring in government legal studies and education with a minor in anthropology. And I'm so excited to be here and share the valuable experiences I've gained in my time on the Common Good Grant Committee from the last year into this one. It goes without saying that this year has been an unprecedented one, bearing unique challenges that we as a committee have taken in great stride. In response to the pandemic, our program shifted to a virtual format this semester. And of course, I missed the McKean Center Common Room and gathering together every Tuesday evening to learn and discuss together. But our adaptation to a virtual format has been more fruitful and smooth than I could have anticipated. At the start, I was resistant. It was hard to adapt to a platform I viewed as lacking all the factors that made my experiences so memorable last year. But this year, the small victories are so celebrated. On decision days where we push back on ideas and enter discussions head first. When speakers come and we use our little reaction buttons to applaud them and smile. Being virtual, despite its challenges, has opened my perspective to new ways to connect and learn from our valuable speakers, our alumni, peers, and mentors. I treasure time together in breakout rooms to converse and chat and share the way we would in person. I'm in awe of the young alumni that have come to speak with us with glaring honesty and passion. I'm so excited to see how our work will flourish over the course of this year and greatly appreciate everyone who has gathered here today virtually to celebrate these organizations doing such significant work and as a last hurrah for the committee this year. Thank you so much for your time, effort, work, and energy. Elise will now offer insights to the committee's grant work this year. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Elise Hawking and I use she, her pronouns. I'm a junior majoring in Asian studies. Thank you so much for joining us today to celebrate the Common Good Grant Committee's work. We're looking forward to giving you a glimpse into our committee's work since the fall. While in previous years, we have formed 2 separate committees, charged with focusing on grants and development, respectively, the virtual format of Common Good Grant this year allowed all members of the committee to participate in both aspects of the program. This year, we received 36 letters of intent. After careful review, we invited 22 organizations to submit grant proposals. This year, in addition to the grant categories of health and human services, education and community development, arts and culture, and environment and sustainability, we added a racial justice, equity, and anti-racism category. To ensure that we fund a diverse range of grants, the committee committed to fund at least 1 organization in each category. After learning about Midwest Maine, the grant writing process and multiple approaches to analyzing grants, the committee selected 13 organizations for virtual site visits. During these site visits, committee members were able to learn more about the mission of the organization and operations of nonprofits, as well as become more familiar with the specific project presented in the organization's grant proposal. Committee members love getting to conduct virtual site visits and connecting with individual organizations and their compelling missions. We're excited to fund the following 11 organizations this year: Bath Area Backpack Program, College Guild, family and community mediation, gardeners growing healthy communities, Parksville Eating at Home, Maine Inside Out, Merrymeeting Food Council, Mid-Coast Literacy, Patent-Free Library, Tedford Housing, and Through These Doors. These organizations align with our committee's values, and we are so happy to support their critical work. We are grateful for the work of all the organizations who applied for Common Good grant funding this cycle, and look forward to the ways they will continue supporting the Mid-Coast Maine community. Ruby will now offer insight into the committee's development work. Thank you.
Thank you, Elise. My name's Ruby. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a senior and I'm a sociology major and psych minor. So now I will speak about the development side of Common Good Grant. Like Elise mentioned, this year we combined our grant and development committees, which is at least one silver lining of the virtual format, in my opinion. On the development side, the primary mission is to connect with donors over our shared mission of contributing to the greater good within the Mid-Coast Maine community. Beginning with our over $10,000 annual grant base, our generous donors supplement this and help us make an even greater positive impact on local organizations. Through engaging in development, committee members gain a hands-on understanding of how fundraising works, both the fun parts and the more challenging parts, and get to practice the art of the ask. Through a vast and supportive network of Common Good Grant alumni, local community members, and loyal donors, we solicit our donations and learn about each donor's interests and motivations for giving. We meet with donors both in pairs and individually throughout the winter and early spring with the goal of providing the committee with the greatest possible funding capacity by decision day. Of course, one of the most impactful parts of development is learning the art of the ask. And at its core for me, development is all about having meaningful conversations with donors to get to know them. And while it's true that the culminating moment is the actual ask, I find that to be such a small part of the process. If you can connect with the donor on a personal level through sharing your own experiences, learning about their interests and experiences, educating them on what Common Good Grant has been up to this year and how their donation would make a tangible impact on the Mid-Coast community. Asking them for money is the easy part. Through so many great conversations with donors, and despite the pandemic, we were able to raise $15,290 on top of our anonymous donation to give out a whopping $27,000 in grants, which is more than we have ever raised before. For that, we are eternally grateful for the generosity and the impact of our donors. Especially this year, these grants will have such a strong positive impact on these organizations and the Mid-Coast community. Now, I'd like to thank our donors who graciously took the time to speak with us and contribute to this great program. When I say their names, please share your virtual applause so we can recognize their contribution to the program. Tom Ancona, Whitney Barnard, parent of 2012, Lydia Bell, class of 2000, Megan Bellarose, class of 17, Stephen and Susan Bellarose, parent of class of 2017, Zinzali Best, class of 2017, Caitlin Callahan, class of 2011, Brownie Carson, class of 69, Winnie Chan, parent 97, Sam Chappell, Sokol, class of 07, Adrian Castellini, class of 2015, Rod, class of 56, and Judy Collette, Shelby Davis, class of 2010, the Salvatore and Conchetta Nicara Donor Advised Fund, Susie and Chuck Dorn, Rich, class of 72, and Ann Fudge, Christina Guerrero, class of 2012, Hugh, class of 65, and Surrey Hardcastle, Matthew Henry, class of 2020, Michelle Johnson, class of 2014, Chris Knight, class of 07, Ed Jr., class of 57, and Nancy Langbein, Jordan Lance, class of 2015, Danielle, class of 2014, and Patrick Leverrier, class of 2014, Audrey Leland, class of 2018, Cal, class of 67, and Sally McKenzie, Richard Mercero, class of 69, Sean Morris, class of 2010, Mitsuki Nishimoto, class of 2017, Justin J. Pearson, class of 2017, Stephen Peck, Carrie Person, class of 09, and Mark Newman, class of 09, Chris Pierce, class of 71, Mike Raina, Susie Rodden, class of 2012, Sarah Richards, class of 2010, Sarah Seams, David Sperber, class of 16, Marina Stam, class of 2019, David Treadwell, class of 64, and Rachel Turkle, class of 2011. A lot of donors this year. Thank you so much to all of our donors, and the funds you've all contributed this year will make a significant impact on these organizations that have received tonight's grants. And now I would like to introduce Aidan Reid, a member of this year's committee, who will begin presenting the awards.
Hi everyone, my name is Aidan Reid. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a first year at Bowdoin studying government and education. I wanted to start by thanking our donors, recipients, and our Common Good Grant leaders for maintaining their commitment to the Mid-Coast community during such a challenging time this past year. I have the honor of presenting the Bath Area Backpack Program with a grant this year. The organization provides food insecure students in the Bath RSU1 area with healthy meals for students and their loved ones. Founded in 2014, initially feeding roughly 10 students, the organization now feeds roughly 200 students in the area. The work of the organization has shifted dramatically in the last year. Nonetheless, the work that they continue to do to the community and its children is essential. The grant will be used to purchase food for weekly and weekend food bags at 3 elementary schools, fund on-site food pantries at local middle and high schools, and deliver snacks and meals through the Bath YMCA and Mid-Coast Youth Center. The Common Good Grant Committee had the opportunity to meet with board members last month. This meeting demonstrated the continued need within the community. It also displayed the organization's ability to adjust in order to fill the gaps in times of virtual learning in Bath schools. They've distributed prepackaged meals and set up pantries at local community centers in their continued effort to fight food insecurity in the region. We are so happy to present Bath Area Backpack Program and have Pamela Cox and here on behalf of the program and invite her to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ryan. And a real thank you to the Common Good Program and all its donors. This money that you've given, as Ryan has said, is feeding hungry children in the area. And I think what we've found over the years is we need to evolve to meet kids where they are. Hence, we have partnerships with after-school programs, with the library, now with the Head Start group. There are a lot of hungry children in Maine, and this money will go a long way. So heartfelt thanks both to the students who developed the program and looked at all the grants and read them, and also to the very kind generosity of the donors. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And next up, we have Kenya with the next program.
Hi, my name is Kenya Matthew, and I'm a sophomore studying sociology and minoring in bio. And I am happy to present College Field grant this year. With all the racial injustice occurring this year, we wanted to ensure that we address issues of race and ethnicity when looking at grants. So we created a racial justice, equity, and anti-racism category. Given the disproportionate number of people of color who are incarcerated in the US, we believe that College Field would be a good organization to fill this category as they support incarcerated students. For the past 20 years, College Field assisted in prison education and prison reform. College Field strives to connect incarcerated people for communities beyond the prison walls. One of the main focuses for the organization is educating imprisoned students and providing them with free correspondence courses that helps foster mutual respect and ultimately mitigates recidivism rates. With this Common Good grant, College Guild can now continue to support incarcerated students all over the United States. The grant will support the cost of postage for incarcerated students for the next 8 months. This is a crucial part of College Guild's work, as many of the incarcerated students do not have any connections outside of prison. By receiving mail while in prison, students are able to begin the process. Support and community are both extremely important for mental health, so having this kind of program really helps to strengthen students' mental well-being. College Guild is extremely important to the Brunswick community and has been able to provide education for over 8,000 students over the last 20 years. I am pleased to invite Executive Director Malia to accept this grant on behalf of College Guild and say
Thank you so much. I want to thank the students, the donors, Common Good organization as it stands for their support of College Guild. Many Bowdoin students volunteer for College Guild and have continued through the pandemic the last year, and we are so extraordinarily grateful both for how students have stepped up to support us and how the Common Good Grant Committee came together to support our request for support on postage. College Guild is also an organization celebrating 20 years this year, and it's a big step for our organization. Our founder is retiring, and we will continue to grow and evolve, and we're looking forward to the next 20 years, both partnering with Bowdoin College and making an impact for incarcerated people across the country. I do want to make note that it was a Bowdoin College student who wrote our grant, Allie Dougal. She interned for us through the school year, along with Julia Sturgeoner, and while they took a gap year through the pandemic. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you for everything you do to make College Guild the organization it is that's changing lives for incarcerated people. We're very grateful. Thanks.
Now I would like to welcome Jackson to present our next award.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, first off, so much for being here. My name is Jackson Coyle. I'm a sophomore at Bowdoin, and I'm from Boise, Idaho. I'm studying computer science and economics. I use he, him pronouns. I feel very fortunate tonight to be able to award a grant to family and community mediation. Family and community mediation is a conflict resolution source for individuals, families, community groups, housing organizations, and agricultural community across Maine. They are the only provider of mediation services in the state and have over 50 trained staff. They seek to improve conversations between conflicting parties to allow for better outcomes and healthier interactions. Participants often seek a resolution of a variety of issues, such as family or co-parenting conflicts, security of finance, or strategies to manage stress, anger, and conflict. Their goal is to expand access to affordable mediation services for the communities of Maine and beyond. Our grant this year will help family and community mediation expand to our very own community of Brunswick, Maine. The funding will provide 25 families with mediation services at no cost to them, in the hopes that these individuals involved will find new ways of talking, listening, and resolving problems, all resulting in improved relationships. We are beyond excited to support this organization in its goal of expanding affordable mediation services to Brunswick. Please welcome Susan Tananbaum to say a few words about family and community mediation.
Hi, I'm actually going to turn this over to my colleague, Erin Clough, who will be speaking on our behalf, but I'll say my thanks as well.
Thank you. I'm Erin Clough, and I am the mediation coordinator for family and community mediation. Thank you, Jackson, and thank you to Zoe and Lily, who I also got to meet at our virtual site visit. It was wonderful to work with you all, and thank you to the entire Common Good Grant Committee. You have all been wonderful. We're so grateful to you all and to the Bowdoin community and to all of the donors. Family and community mediation, as Jackson said, is the only community nonprofit to provide mediation services to the entire state of Maine. This grant will enable us to expand our family mediation program to the Mid-Coast area and to reach 25 more vulnerable families and help us build our capacity to foster resilience during these difficult and challenging times of so much stress. We have a staff of just two, myself and another woman, and we rely on our volunteer board of directors and a roster of over 75 volunteer mediators to provide mediation services statewide to individuals and families and to train new mediators across the state. So we do a lot of really hard work, and we provide a lot of services to really vulnerable individuals, families, and agricultural producers. And thank you all so much for helping us reach a broader scope of people. We're so grateful.
I'd now like to invite Sophia to present our next award.
Hi. Oh, I'm on Zoom, sorry. But my name is Sophia Pantzer. I'm a first year here at Bowdoin. And in March, I met with Bonnie Pooley and Barbara Murphy from Gardeners Growing Healthy Communities alongside Zeb, Caroline, and Grace. We were all very impressed on our visit, and we are really excited to be able to present Gardeners Growing Healthy Communities with the grant. The grant is being awarded under the Environment, Agriculture, and Sustainability bucket. And this organization maintains 2 gardens, one in Rumford and one in South Paris, that produce high quality produce and give it to those in need throughout Western Oxford County. They have a very dedicated set of longstanding volunteers who each come in and give 1 morning of work per week. The Rumford garden that I mentioned already has 47 beds, and the South Paris one has 21. So there's quite a lot of land to attend to. And the Rumford Garden was the first to start when retired mill workers talked to the mill administration and were able to make resourceful use of a vacant lot. And I think that this origin story is very representative of the values of the organization as a whole and why it stood out so much to us, because the organization doesn't only have a positive impact on their patrons, but also on their volunteers and on the environment. And as I listened to Bonnie talk during our site visit, it was very clear that the organization is part of the larger community and its efforts have ripple effects. This grant specifically will allow for the replacement of raised beds, the provision of vegetable seeds, compost, fertilizer, soil amendments, wheelbarrows, and all the basic materials needed to carry out their mission of providing high quality produce for the hungry. We're proud to be able to contribute to this organization and the excellent work they're doing in Western Maine. So it is my honor to invite Barbara Murphy to accept this grant on behalf of Gardeners Growing Healthy Communities and to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Sophia. And thank you to everyone for the grant. We have been doing this in one way, shape, or form since 1999. So to be recognized as making a difference really does make us feel proud and help us carry on. Thank you. And we look forward to hosting our 4th or 5th freshman year outing group this August as they come by and get acquainted at Bowdoin. So thank you and best of luck next year.
All right, I would now like to introduce Hayden to present the next award.
Hi, everyone. My name is Hayden Redelman. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a first year interested in government and English. I'm so excited to present Harpswell Aging at Home with a grant this evening. A grassroots organization created, maintained, and led by older Harpswell residents, Harpswell Aging at Home has served the Harpswell community by providing low-cost or no-cost support systems and services to residents since its founding in 2015, including its popular Lunch with Friends program. With the help of this grant, Harpswell Aging at Home will continue to gather residents for meals and fellowship this fall and winter, both addressing food insecurity and nurturing a community that helps Harpswell thrive. Amidst the pandemic, Harpswell Aging at Home remains steadfast in its commitment to delivering free and healthy meals to those who need it. Through their Meals to Go program, Harpswell Aging at Home abided by stringent health precautions to ensure those they served kept receiving the meals they depended on while also protecting them from the virus. Grant funds will be used to help pay for the food coordination consultant that makes these programs so successful. And when it's safe to do so, know that we all look forward to sharing a meal with you in Harpswell soon. It's my honor to invite Surrey Hardcastle to accept this grant on behalf of Harpswell Aging at Home and to say a few words.
Thank you, Hayden. We enjoyed meeting with you and appreciate this honor from the Bowdoin Common Good. This is such an impressive program. Bowdoin is such an impressive institution, and we are very sorry that this year we haven't been able to meet in person as we have some other years. We've had some wonderful Bowdoin cooks come and make meals with us and share meals with us, and we hope that we can do that again next year. Thank you very much. As I said, we are providing meals, but not just meals. An essential piece of our program is socialization and the building of community. It is exciting for us to have your affirmation for our programs. And we look forward to going into next year as hopefully we will be opening up and being able to do a little bit more in person. But whatever comes, we will be there, and we know Bowdoin is there as well. Thank you.
I would now like to introduce Juliakay to present the next award.
Hi all, my name is Juliakay and I'm a current first year student. I'm happy to be able to present Maine Inside Out with a grant this year. Maine Inside Out is an organization operating out of Portland that works to promote freedom and imagination, both through their community and individual art projects, and also through their advocacy to support new modes of transformative justice. They work closely with formerly incarcerated youth in these projects and continually advocate for those currently living and incarcerated in Maine. Through their theater performances, they have been able to reach people from all across Maine, engaging them in discussions regarding youth justice and the lived experiences of formerly incarcerated youth. Their theater performances and other art projects provide a valuable space for formerly and currently incarcerated youth to connect with one another and explore the systems of oppression that have impacted their lives. With this grant money from Common Good Grant, Maine Inside Out will be able to provide much needed stipends for the artists they work with for their open mic tour. They are looking to build upon this pilot program to create further ways to facilitate involvement in these communities for transformative art. Their hope is that with this program, they will be able to build pathways for members to become part of the staff team or to work for other nonprofits. Maine Inside Out will be using this grant to increase technology access for those who want to make their programs more accessible for their members, something which has become a true necessity due to the pandemic moving many aspects of life to virtual systems. I've been fortunate enough to see Maine Inside Out theater presentation, and I was and still am incredibly inspired by the simultaneous vulnerability and strength shown by each one of their artists. It was truly an incredible performance. I am so glad that those of us on Bowdoin's Common Good Grant program were able to support them this year. Maine Inside Out truly works to promote change in their community, within Maine and with the world. I am now delighted to invite Bruce King to accept this grant on behalf of Maine Inside Out and to say a few words.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here to accept this award for our youth and to put some of that money forward as was just described. This money goes largely directly to our youth who participate so that they can actually be compensated regularly. And sorry, this my partner here is very moved by seeing especially so many young women here. It speaks loudly to it. But we have actually this past week we accepted in 3 new hires who are Maine Inside Out members, and one of them literally was released last week. So this is creating true paths for employment, and we're able to really center their voices and really call for major change. And so this has been a great experience getting to work with with you guys in order to get to this phase of the awards. I actually live down the street, and when I'm walking by, which I'm regularly walking by Bowdoin, and I'm always wondering, I wonder if those are some of the youth. So hopefully once the masks are off, we'll be able to say hello in person. But I just want to thank you on behalf of Maine Inside Out and our participants. You guys are making a huge difference. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I would now like to introduce Daniil to present the next award.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Daniil Razzo, and I'm a senior studying history and English. I'm pleased to present the Merrymeeting Food Council with a grant. The Merrymeeting Food Council was founded in 2015 as a program of CELT, run by Top Chef, Land Trust, and other partners seeking to solve food insecurity in communities around Maine. Since 2016, the Merrymeeting Food Council has created food access guides for 14 towns, establishing tables of free produce in 6 communities, increased winter availability to healthy local food, and most importantly, building community wherever they went. Merrymeeting Food Council is an organization that provides Brunswick residents with an opportunity to reinvest in the communities through a healthier and sustainable life. With a Common Good Grant, the Merrymeeting Food Council will develop a farm skill training pilot program that provides employment opportunities for up to 10 Brunswick residents. The grant will fund stipends for each candidate, provide transportation to the farm, and a small portion will be available to those participants that find housing outside of Brunswick. This program is particularly important in helping residents stay financially afloat during this pandemic. More importantly, the program is meant to uplift Brunswick residents by giving them the knowledge and accessibility to their own agricultural needs. Not only is the Merrymeeting Food Cancellation a short-term solution to a current crisis, but a long-term investment for community need of better food accessibility and job opportunities. I'm confident that the farm skill training pilot program will be a success and continue to grow in the foreseeable future. I'm now delighted to invite Harriet Van Vleck to accept this grant on behalf of the Merrymeeting Food Council and to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Janelle, and to all the donors and the other 3 students that joined us for an interview and the staff that are part of this great program. We are so excited to move forward with this partnership. It's a big collaboration, as the students pointed out. So we are working with Tedford Housing, with University of Maine Cooperative Extension, with Maine Organic Farmers and Growers Association, with Growing to Give, which is a food bank farm in Brunswick, and now with Goodwill. We've even added one more partner since our interview with you. And so we are pooling all of that collective knowledge and wisdom and working with outreach clients at Tedford Housing to provide them with a community through an opportunity to participate with our gleaning program and gain additional training, farm skills training from MOFGA and Cooperative Extension. Our sort of a hallmark along the lines of what Surrey was talking about, a hallmark of our gleaning program is the sense of community that it creates. And so we're so excited to be able to offer these participants not only skills, but a sense of community and belonging in our local food system, and give them a knowledge base and training that will help them whatever their next step is. So thank you again for this opportunity, and we're very excited to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm now delighted to introduce Lily, who will present the next report.
Hi everyone, I'm Lily. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a junior at Bowdoin studying education and English. I am very excited to be presenting Midcoast Literacy with a Common Good grant this year. Midcoast Literacy has been supporting and building literacy skills in children and adults alike since 1970. With a dedicated base of 75 volunteers, Midcoast Literacy has been able to offer personalized tutoring sessions, family literacy sessions in local Head Start programs, and free children's books to low-income families in the area. With the mission of improving lives through literacy, Midcoast Literacy aims to help clients grow their literacy skills in ways that will allow them to become competent, caring, healthy individuals who are capable of succeeding throughout all stages of life. Serving a population that varies widely in location, age, and background, Midcoast spends its time primarily working with folks from low-income households and non-native English speakers. With this Common Good grant, Midcoast Literacy will continue to support its Read With Me programs. The grant will provide funding for staff wages, purchasing and distribution of over 1,000 children's books, and literacy educational programs for 136 young children ages 0 through 5, and their adult family members in Read With Me classrooms across the Midcoast region. Midcoast Literacy supports the children, adults, and families it serves with skills that will last them a lifetime and which will ultimately create more opportunities and paths to success, especially for students and clients who may have started out at a disadvantage. The work they do with local children and their families falls within a critical window of development for youth and will be an important factor in contributing to growth, educational health, and equity in Midcoast, Maine for years to come. And now I would like to invite Katie Clark from Midcoast Literacy to the Zoom stage to accept this grant on behalf of Midcoast Literacy and to say a few words.
Thank you. I love hearing about our organization. Lily did a wonderful job. I was very impressed by the whole presentation and how much this program has grown over the past several years. I am a Brunswick resident as well and live quite close to the college. And so I just wanted to express my thanks to everybody in every step of the way to promote this program and to fund the very small organizations in the Mid-Coast region, including ours. The Read With Me program started in 1995 and has evolved and grown over time. And we, it was very different this year, but we are already picking out our books for the fall and for next year, and are excited about that, all the books that we get to distribute to the children. We now give books to all the families who have kids in Head Start and Early Head Start and the Home Visitor Program, so that even those parents who can't come to the individual sessions within the Head Start day in the classroom can still receive the books and read to their children. And we try to find ways to support those parents to do that and give them materials also so they can do projects and things with their kids that help them also develop just their speaking and reading skills. And I wanted to give a special thanks to Selena and Sarah, who interviewed us for the program. I thought that was very impressive and very thorough. And that's really different than what we've encountered with other grants. And so I thought that was a very good component of the whole application process. So with that, I just want to say thank you again. And we are definitely looking forward to being back in person with children and families in the fall.
Thank you, Katie. And I would now like to introduce Sydney to present the next award.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sydney Starks, and I use she, her pronouns. I'm a current first year and perspective sociology major, and I'm honored to be the committee member that gets to present a Common Good grant to a patent-free library and just briefly speak about the organization. When the library passed through the letters of intent phase, I knew that it was one of the virtual site visits that I wanted to join. In less than an hour, I was charmed by the library, and I was inspired by the work it was currently doing and the plans that they had for the future. The Common Good grant money will fund patent-free libraries pilot book delivery program. Serving 5 Maine communities, the service will help alleviate transportation and mobility barriers to education for numerous community members. By creating a sustainable solution to address the issues of patrons' age, disability, or other conditions that may impede library access, Patent-Free Libraries grant falls within our health and basic needs bucket. Patent-Free Libraries' mission is to transform lives, inspire lifelong learning, preserve local history, and build community through joyful, creative exploration and dialogue. This mission was evident in their letter of intent, grant, and site visit. Thus, I'm very excited and honored to present Patent-Free Library with the Common Good grant. I'm delighted to invite Pam Berry and Roberta Jordan to accept this grant on behalf of Patent-Free Library and to say a few words.
Hello, I'm Roberta Jordan, and Pam Berry, who is here with us, and I are very delighted to be in your company and be in the company of so many great Bath organizations that are also receiving funding. We're grateful to the students on the Common Good Committee, to the people who conducted our interview, to the donors and the college for this great opportunity. The grant that you've provided, as Sydney mentioned, will allow us to launch a homebound delivery service, something the pandemic has made us more acutely aware is very important to a fairly large segment of our population. In the past few months, while we've eagerly awaited word from the Common Good Grant Committee, we've tested the program procedures on 3 volunteer patrons, 2 who live in congregate care facilities in Bath, and 1 homebound patron who still lives independently. If their enthusiastic and grateful response to this new service provides any indication, this grant is sure to have a broad and meaningful impact on the hundreds of homebound patrons living in our service area. It will help us reach out, connect with, and welcome homebound patrons into our library community. And the service will also create meaningful volunteer opportunities in our community. All of us at the Patent Free Library in Bath are very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Sarah to present the next award.
Hello, everyone. I hope that you have all been enjoying the night so far. It's so good to see all the familiar faces from throughout the year and have everyone together. Although I know that we cannot all be in the same place physically, I'm glad we were able to have this ceremony virtually. My name is Sarah Morcos. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I'm a first year here at Bowdoin. The Common Good Grant Program has been so monumental for my first year experience here at Bowdoin. Being able to learn about the grant writing process, the art of philanthropy, and different organizations, particularly the work that you all do in the greater Brunswick community, has just been so incredible and inspiring to see, especially in one of the most challenging years for so many people. I have the honor tonight of introducing Tedford Housing, a nonprofit dedicated to empowering people to move from homelessness to homes and presenting them with a grant. Tedford Housing will be using the grant money to fund a personal development desk at their adult shelter. This desk will include a desktop computer, desk, and chair for individuals living at the shelter to use. This resource will allow guests to complete job applications, resumes, finish their degrees, and conduct virtual interviews with the assistance of the case managers on site and the support of staff members. I am very excited about the work that Tedford Housing will be doing to help break down barriers for their guests so that they can thrive in their individual communities. Congratulations, Tedford Housing. I am delighted to now invite Blaine Flanders to accept this grant on behalf of Tedford Housing and to say a few words.
Thank you, Sarah. I'd first like to thank everyone in the Common Good Grant Committee for awarding us this award. And I'd also like to thank Selena, Lily, and Sarah for speaking with me to learn more about Tedford Housing and the people that we serve. I'd also like to thank Ryan and Chanel for leading the program this year, as well as Tom and Susie for supporting all of the committee members. This funding is really going to provide an additional resource to our guests in our adult shelter to help them break down barriers that are preventing them from obtaining long-term permanent housing. So it's really going to be a life-changing measure to have this resource available to them. And we're really looking forward to being able to provide that thanks to the support of the Common Good Grant Committee. So thank you to the entire Common Good program for continuing to support Tedford Housing.
I would now like to introduce Charlotte to present the final award of the night.
Good evening. My name is Charlotte Gehrs, and I use she, her pronouns. I am a first year at Bowdoin and a prospective computer science major. I am pleased to present Through These Doors with a grant. Through These Doors is Cumberland County's Domestic Violence Resource Center, serving survivors of domestic abuse, dating violence, and stalking, and others affected by abuse. Since 1977, Through These Doors has supported the community through an emergency shelter, support and education groups, and a 24-hour helpline, among other resources and initiatives. The prevalence of domestic violence has increased in the past year due to the isolation caused by the pandemic. Through These Doors has met these new and urgent needs by continuing many of its existing programs remotely, including its support group. With a Common Good grant, Through These Doors will improve the accessibility of its remote support group and establish an unrestricted victims fund for victims and survivors of domestic abuse. And funds will be provided to survivors to access the group confidentially and securely. Additionally, Through These Doors will give children of group members age-appropriate educational resources through activity books and mini magazines. The unrestricted funds will help meet survivors' basic needs. The funds may be used for food, heating, changing locks, rental assistance, or other needs. The Common Good Grant Committee is delighted to support Through These Doors in its important work to both support and create community for survivors of abuse. I'm now delighted to invite Erica Simonson to accept this grant on behalf of Through These Doors and to say a few words.
Good evening, all. Thank you so much for that nice introduction. I think that it's a delight to be the caboose on the end of all the wonderful organizations that I've seen here tonight and heard you all speak about. And it makes me a little bit emotional hearing all the good work that you all have been doing through the pandemic and to know that you all are beside us in our struggle. We know that violence in the home, homes aren't safe for everyone, right? And violence in people's home has really escalated during the pandemic. And through using Zoom platforms and virtual platforms, we've really looked to reduce the barriers of isolation for individuals who are experiencing violence in their homes. And we found it to be very, very successful. So the idea that we are going to have these grant funds to apply to continue to be innovative and engaging people in a way that breaks down their barriers to access and support is very exciting. And we would love to thank all the committee members and the donors and the mentors who supported this program. It was an absolute delight to meet with Maggie and Elise for our site visit, and having them care as much about it as we all care about it for our community really meant a lot. So thank you so much for this grant.
Wow, what a wonderful group of organizations that we have this year. Let's give a final round of applause to all our students and the awardees for their inspiring work. As we conclude this year's program, I'm pleased to introduce Sarah Seams, Director of the McKean Center for the Common Good, to give our closing remarks. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you, Tom. Of course, a big thank you. Ryan and Chanel said this earlier, but Tom is the backbone of this program. Associate Director in the McKean Center, and he makes the program happen. And of course, we are so lucky to get to work with Ryan and Chanel, and their leadership has been phenomenal this year. Last year, around this time, we were doing this ceremony virtual as well. And it was really, Common Good Grant was the first program that we moved to a virtual format during the pandemic. And it has been, I think, a really special program for the McKean Center this year, even more so than usual. It's always been a cornerstone of our programming, but this year, because there's been a lot of limitations on what our students can do out in the community, the Common Good Grant has been a program that's been able to be really flexible and adjust to the needs both of our students and the community as well. So we're really grateful that we've been able to continue in this way, and that this year was a record year, both in terms of the number of students who wanted to be a part of the program and in terms of the amount of donations we were able to accept and then turn over around to these great organizations. I'm really obviously touched by how many people are here. I just wanted to point out, as Susie told us earlier, the original donor, the philanthropist who helped to start Common Good Grant, is a class of 64 grad from Bowdoin. Yes, David, you too. We love the class of 64. I think it's pretty remarkable that this year's first year class is the class of 2024. So we are spanning 60 years. Yes, Susie, 60 years of Bowdoin classes with this program. And even more than that, actually, because some of the donors may have been from earlier than 64. So the impact of that is incredible. And I think the testament to that, the biggest evidence of that, is seeing the young alumni who are donors to the program, the young alumni who are here today to be a part of this program because they took part in it themselves. And they tell us all the time about the impact that this program had for them, both in their time at Bowdoin and for how they chose to follow their commitment to the common good after leaving Bowdoin. And that's really what we thank our donors and our partner organizations for, is for demonstrating to our students what it means to pursue the common good broadly, not just at Bowdoin. I had the chance earlier today to hear Justin J. Pearson, who's a class of 17 grad and also was a part of Common Good Grant. He spoke with a group of students today for us, and he talked about how the common good isn't just a Bowdoin concept, and we're really lucky at Bowdoin to have the common good as a part of our identity, and to give us a focus and to be able to articulate our commitment in that way. But it's not just about Bowdoin, right? The common good is a concept that is universal, and our donors, and especially the partners that we work with, the community organizations, are demonstrating to our students day in and day out what it means to think more broadly than yourself, to think about the common good. And we encourage our students to really contemplate for themselves what that term means. And they have so many great examples of what it can mean in the community. And so we really consider both our community partners and our alumni and donors to be, co-educators. I think Susie Dorn used to use this term a lot, and I love it that you all are co-educators of our students, that you are a big part of their education as well. So a big thanks and shout out to Lydia Bell again, who was the staff person for our office when this program got started. She helped to shape it. Susie took it to another level in her time as director, and it's so fantastic to be able to celebrate 20 years of the program with you all. With that, we're going to say one more big thank you. We so appreciate you all being here and taking the time to be with us tonight. And we look forward to continuing all of these partnerships and relationships into the future. Have a good night.
So I have a Bowdoin log that my children made. I didn't have it in time when we got our award, but I have to share my daughter's baking.
That is amazing.
That's fantastic.
And it's delicious.
Yes, and hopefully next year we will be back in person with the Bowdoin log, although you should all continue to practice your baking skills to make that happen.
Like class of 2030 or something, maybe. She's
Yes.
in 8th grade. I can't do that math in my head.
Thank you all.
Impressive.